let's get into main topic number 1, shall we? And the first main topic today gets submitted to us by Jwayne Dohnson, I like what you did there, writes, "Hey, John, you've probably had a chance to watch all of Umbrella Academy Season 2. I did. I binged it all in one day. That ending. What were your thoughts on the season? Did you like it better than the first? How long do you think it will be before we get a third season? Thank you. P.S. Please do an open spoiler discussion for Umbrella Academy Season 2. All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And I might give it like another week and then do it a full open. Maybe this coming weekend, we'll do one, give everybody a chance to get caught up, and then maybe we'll do it and have a full open discussion. Not guaranteeing it, but maybe we will. Rob, I don't know if did you have a chance? I know you've been looking forward to it, but it just came out. Did you have a chance to watch Umbrella Academy Season 2?
I've watched 3 episodes.
Okay, so you've watched 3 episodes. So I'm not going to give away any big spoilers here. I'm not going to give away any. No.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I'm not going to give away any big, massive spoilers here or anything like that. But I will say this. Now, on Open Mic this weekend, I mentioned to everybody a couple things. Number 1, I loved the season. I loved this season of Umbrella Academy. Thing number 2, I liked it more than season 1. By the end of season 2, I liked it even more than season 1.
Wow.
But I also mentioned, I said, I'm not going to tell you all the things I loved about it, but I'm going to tell you a couple of my nitpicks. And here were my couple of nitpicks that I had about this. Again, this isn't really spoiling a whole ton for you guys. Nitpick number 1, and Rob, you've probably already picked up on this just being 3 episodes in. It's like, okay, the family has to unite to stop an Armageddon. Didn't we already do that in season 1? Now, granted, they creatively do some creative stuff with that kind of alleviates it, but still, that was kind of weighing on my head a little bit for the first bit. Nitpick number 2, and there's really not many, but when you look at guys like Luther and Klaus, right? I wanted to see more, because in that opening scene of season 2, you get to see Klaus, unleash the army of the dead on people. You get to see Luther jump in front of a rocket launcher and take a rocket launcher full force to his back and just go, very Hulk-like. Didn't get a lot of opportunity in season 2 to see them in action per se. Like a lot of great Klaus and Luther stuff, but not a lot of them in action. You know what I mean? So that was a little bit of a nitpick of mine, but whatever. My third little nitpick was there's a character you see in the trailer called AJ. That's the new head of the commission who's got a fishbowl for a head and a goldfish in there. Oh, I knew nothing about AJ. By the time this show ended, I wanted there to have been more AJ. I really like that character, and I wanted more of them. So anyway, those are some of my nitpicks. Rob, one of the first things that stood out to me, though, listen, you got to understand, this show was finished shooting before the pandemic, before the rioting and all the stuff that came up as a result of social injustice and all that. This show was done shooting before that. Rob, it felt like they just wrote it last month.
I know.
It is so timely and applicable right now that seriously feels like they just wrote it last month to go with our times. But when you guys do watch it, you got to keep in mind they made this before all this stuff kind of came out, and it was great. They found a great way to involve great historical events like the assassination of JFK in with the idea of the civil rights movement in the early 1960s. And they did it in a way that to me never felt heavy-handed. It felt like it revisited, and it's weird to think, Rob, because a lot of times we like to think of some things in our history as being ancient history. I'm watching this stuff going on and I'm like, my mom and dad were young adults when this was happening. These horrors, I'm not going to use any other word, horrors of what we as a culture and society were. These horrors were not that long ago. And the way they engaged that, yet never made it feel like the show was about that. The show always kept its focus on the big thing here. They got to figure out what causes the next apocalypse, and they got to stop that apocalypse. And they never lost focus on that. The way they do the intermingling with the different timelines is great. They bring, again, 5 pretty much steals the show for me. I thought 5 pretty much stole the show in season 1. He pretty much steals the show again. That kid
is such a good actor.
Oh my God, he's so good. Because when I watch that kid, Rob, I am completely convinced I'm watching a 71-year-old man in the body of a 13-year-old. I'm convinced of it. He convinces me of that. I thought that was great. The stuff they did with the various interrelationships, the Klaus stuff in this season is great. The Ben, you haven't even gotten to the Ben stuff yet, Rob, but the Ben stuff is great. Looking back and stuff with their father is great. And then the ending. And I'm not going to give anything away, but the ending is primo. And by the way, Rob, I've been talking a little bit lately about Warrior Nun and Cursed, shows on Netflix, where I've been really critical of the way that they just kind of ended their seasons without anything being resolved. And I always point to Supernatural and saying Supernatural is one of the great examples of how you do a season, wrap up everything in the story of that season at the end, and then leave a little bit to introduce what the next season will be about. So you bring everything to culmination and you still introduce what's the next season going to be about. First of all, last season of Umbrella Academy did that. This season of Umbrella Academy does it even better. They bring the story to a conclusion and they do a great job introducing what's to come in season 3 all at the same time. So as a viewer, felt satisfied watching it through to the end, and I felt the anticipation of what was to come next. Rob, you've only had a chance to watch 3 episodes so far, but what's your general impression of it so far?
Well, I love this show. I loved the first season. I own the comics, and I love, first of all, the casting of all the characters is great. I really love the family and all the peripheral characters, and I love the way the show looks. It has a different look to any other show on TV, really. It's hard to pinpoint what it is, but I would say a texture. And it's just so much damn fun to watch. And I love it. The only reason I didn't binge more is because I was working this weekend. And I kept going back and watching, I watched 20 minutes here and 15 minutes there. And I want to sit down and watch the whole thing, but I couldn't. And it feels like a drug to me. I'm like, I need to do more. I need to do more of it, John. More Umbrella Academy. So I'm really, I love it. Love it. And like you said, I was really surprised. Like in the beginning, you find out a certain character is married, and they weave in the idea of the civil rights movement in a very natural way. Like, of course, because it's because the time period and what's going on. And I loved all that. I thought it was really, really great.
Yeah. And by the way, Rob, you can already tell from where you're at, it's a violent season. I mean, there's a lot of violence, including Something Is Coming with 5. That is going to be one of the talked about scenes once everybody anyway, guys, I clearly love this show. Questions for you guys. Have you guys had a chance to watch Umbrella Academy season 2? If not, I highly recommend you jump on it. If you have, jump down to the comment section and let us know what you've thought of it so far. All right, guys.